Hi there. Real quick before we jump into the episode. If you enjoy this episode, or any of the other episodes, be sure to give us a follow or subscribe. It would also be great if you shared it with a friend, or better yet, left a review so others can know how awesome it is. Thanks so much. And now, the episode.
Hey there, Press Starters, and welcome to the Press Start Leadership Podcast, the podcast about game-changing leadership, teaching you how to get the most out of your product and development team and become the leader you were meant to be. Leadership coaching and training for the international game industry professional. Now, let me introduce you to your host, the man, the myth, the legend, Christopher Mifsud.
Welcome back, Press Starters, to another great edition of Press Start Leadership Podcast. On this week's episode, we're going to be discussing the importance of empathy as a leader and 5 simple tips on getting a raise. First up, the importance of empathy as a leader. Walking a mile in another monkey's shoes. The importance of empathy as a leader. Give a monkey a brain, and he'll swear he's the center of the universe. Not only is this the title of one of my favorite albums of all time, Thank You Fishbone, it also reveals an important truth about human behavior. Most people, intrinsically, think the world is centered around them. They also believe everyone else is constantly thinking or talking about them, but they aren't, at least not that much. Truth is, we're all too busy thinking about ourselves, and if someone is thinking about you, it is usually in connection to themselves and how you orbit their universe. Aside from significant others, family, and pets, most people are only thinking about how you help them achieve happiness, food, and scritches. Okay, maybe your pets are too. If you want to get an idea of how self-focused we are, try counting how often you self-reference. A yogi once had me count the number of times I thought about myself or made a me-centered comment throughout the day. And let me tell you, that's one right there. Even with practice, that number was significant. Self-identifying is important for all humans who haven't reached enlightenment. As a leader, it's our job to understand this. Us monkeys in our universes are the reason soft skills like empathy and communication are so important. Separating from self to walk in someone else's shoes is empathy and leadership at its highest level. We must realize others' universes are just as important as our own. The good news? Most people are just hopping around trying to get by and hoping good things happen to them. Will they still make mistakes and do boneheaded, hurtful things? Absolutely. But it's important to remember that their actions aren't coming from a place of ill intent, but from ignorance about how they may affect you. Monkeys can't read minds. If they don't communicate effectively with you, it's most likely based on the assumptions, fears, and desires in their own personal universe. Don't take it personally. Now, not everyone is a happy monkey. Are there malicious assholes out there willing to hurt you for their own personal gain? Yes, of course. And if you identify a bad monkey, do everything in your power not to let them get away with their selfish behavior. If you don't, they'll just keep stealing your bananas until they are stopped. And trust me, monkeys like bananas. In the end, we all have to live in harmony. So do your best to remember we're all human, or monkeys. Take a little time to put on another monkey's shoes. It helps with making assumptions, communication, and most of all, empathy. And there you have the importance of empathy as a leader and a human being. Let me know your thoughts on empathy in the comments below. Next up, 5 simple tips on getting a raise. How to ask for more money. What to do when a company doesn't do annual salary reviews. I've been approached many times by my employees asking if we can have an uncomfortable conversation. It's almost always about a raise. And here's the thing. These are not uncomfortable conversations, at least for me. Sure, sometimes talking about salary can be awkward, but as a leader, I encourage these talks. Salary should be discussed, and if someone is doing a great job, they should be rewarded. Unfortunately, we as a society have made money a taboo topic, which works to the advantage of our dragon-like capitalist overlords, sitting on their pile of gold coins. Prior to being a leader, I worked at a few companies that didn't have annual reviews in place, so I learned to negotiate raises from both sides. In fact, a few folks dubbed me the Dragon Warrior when it comes to asking for salary increases. I'm pretty fearless, and I've been quite successful in retrieving my gold without agitating the dragon. So I'm going to give you some tips on entering the lair. Here are 5 simple tips for asking for a raise. 1. Ask. This is the first on the list for a reason. You aren't going to get more money unless you ask, especially if there are no annual reviews in place. If there isn't a system for it, it's not likely people will want to pay you more money. In fact, most people are happy to keep paying you your starting rate if you don't ask. So, ask. While there are worse things than your boss saying no, they're unlikely to happen unless you work in a toxic environment. So, ask for a raise. 2. Show demonstrable wins. Bring up anything that demonstrates your wins. It's important to be consistent and deliberate, and keep track of the good stuff. Have you taken on more responsibility? Are you working more hours? Keep track and ask for compensation. Otherwise, these things decrease your worth if you're a salaried employee. If you're a leader, keep track of your employees' wins for them. If you're an individual, keep track for yourself, in case your boss isn't so awesome. 3. Know your market value. Do your research. If there are no annual reviews, they're probably not benchmarking other companies. There's a good chance the market value for your role is higher than what you're being paid. Can you go down the street tomorrow and get paid more? If so, you should definitely ask for a raise. 4. Have leverage. Are other companies knocking on your door? Do you have multiple offers? Bring this up during negotiation. I generally don't make a counteroffer if there's another job on the table. I just match the offer in hopes they stay. 1-up. If you do this, make sure you have an actual offer. I've called a lot of bluffs in my day, and it's not a good look to lie to your employer. 5. Ask sooner than later. It's always better to make your employer aware of your money wants sooner rather than later. If you have a target amount, your probability of receiving it is higher if you don't leave it to chance. I'd much rather know someone's financial desires than have everyone leave disappointed. Even if I can't meet someone's goal, I can coach them towards it. If you're a good leader, your employees shouldn't have to worry about any of this. You're already on top of their annual reviews and making sure they are paid what they're worth. If you're working for someone that isn't a great leader, and it's been more than 2 years, it's time to initiate the conversations about a raise. You're only worth what someone else is willing to pay you, and if you believe in your own worth, you have to take a chance. After you get that raise, make sure you ask for one every year after that. It's time to press start. And there you have 5 simple tips on getting a raise. Let me know your tips in the comments. That's this week's episode of Press Start Leadership Podcast. Thanks for tuning in, and as always, thanks for being awesome. Give us a follow, a like, a share, and even a review if you feel like it. We'd really appreciate it. Cheers. If you haven't downloaded my free ebook, 5 Heroic Leadership Skills, click on the link in the description. Tune in next week for your next episode of Press Start Leadership Podcast. Thank you. Oh, hi there. The episode's over, but thanks for sticking around till the end. If you're on the quest to elevate your team's leadership, production, or game design capabilities, I'm here to assist. Leveraging extensive experience and a strategic approach, I offer personalized audits, bespoke workshops, and leadership retreat facilitation to drive your team toward excellence. My commitment is to provide efficient, reliable, and proven support, ensuring you have the tools and insights needed to thrive. Ready to unlock your team's full potential and achieve unparalleled success? Don't hesitate to press start on your journey to transformation today. Feel free to reach out directly to discuss how we can tailor a solution to meet your unique needs and goals. Let's connect and take your team's performance to the next level.